Hey guys, in this video I will show you some simple tips and tricks with Deadlock right here on Haven, and we will start with his ability Net, and we will start when you are attacking on A. So firstly, this simple lineup, you just want to be placing your crosshair on this little tip of the leaf, and you just simply want to run forward and throw it as soon as you start running. So it would look like this, and as you can see, it's gonna land right here on these stairs. Another place where you can throw it would be right here. Simply run forward and throw it as soon as the barrier falls, so that way anyone would be trying to push you here at the spawn, well, not at the spawn, trying to push you from the sewer, he's gonna get, once again, he cannot go here, and you can gain the space which is needed here at sewer. Another lineup will be right here. You will be throwing this behind the box on A side, and you wanna place your crosshair right here and jump and throw it.
No escape.
So that way it's gonna land perfectly behind this box. Anyone who would be trying to hold either short or trying to hold long would have a hard time. You can use it either like this, or you don't have to jump. If you don't jump, it's gonna simply land a bit further in the back. That way, I think this one without jumping is much easier and still much better, since enemies would be usually further here, but if you know that they would be in these spots, sure, go for the jump shot. And you want to combine this, for example, with raze nade. And of course, I should mention that you can throw it right here on the shirt, simply bounce off of the wall, so that way it covers this whole area perfectly, and you mostly want to clear this corner. And the best spot to use it would be right here. Once again, you can combine it with raze nade, simply run forward and throw it, and get anyone who would be right here. You can also try to use it either from heaven, also once again with combination, bouncing off of this wall like this, or when you are coming out, just simply use it like this, so that way anyone in this corner is gonna get stunned. On B defending, you can use it, for example, in window, so that way you can, for example, wallbang anyone right here. Overall, I would not really, there's not many spots where you can use it right here. You can use it, for example, to clear the close right, just like that, so that way you bounce it and it's gonna get anyone or bounce it off this wall. So that way, that would be a good idea. You can even throw it into the backside, as you can see, just simply bounce off of these walls. But have in mind, it doesn't get this whole area, and you would need 2 nades, since however you don't have that. So have that in mind. If you wanna push, you can always just simply throw it further in these choke points, where the enemies, if they would be stunned, then they would usually fall back and not trying to fight you. However, if you are playing in garage, using your grenade like this is great. Simply bounce it off. You can even run forward, so that way it lands closer to the doors, depending how you like it. On C, there's plenty of ways how to do it. You can simply bounce off the walls, for example like this, so that way you stop the push. You can use it even from all the way here at the spawn, just simply, for example, try to aim at this corner right here and just aim higher, so that way you know where to aim. Just use this reference points, for example the side of this roof, as I have just mentioned. One of the lineups that you can use for C behind the box would be right in this corner. Place your cursor on the tip of this mountain, and you want to line it up with this corner, so that way it is in the height of it, and you want to jump and throw it. And as you can see, it's gonna go behind the box all the way here and stun anyone behind it. Now let's move on to your sonic sensor, which you should know that you can use without any range. At the time of recording this, there's no range on it, so that way you can place one on A and the other one on C. So how I would use it, you can place one, for example, right here. I would just give you some spot where I think it's very good to use, since those are the spots where the enemies would be already rushing in and trying to kill you. You can do it, for example, right here as well, or on the side of the wall right here. There are other spots which you could use. You can use it, for example, like this, but you should be trying to use it so that way you can use these into your advantage, so that way you are close. For example, in a corner like this, I would say it would be the best, since you would have, for example, this one and this one, and when one of these goes off, you just simply peek with it and try to get a kill, or anyone who will be in that area. You can do them even in spots like these, let's say pretty high up, for example like this. so that way enemy can walk through it. They don't have to spot it since it would be a bit higher than they would usually check, and then you can just simply walk through and then it's gonna stun them. So there's plenty of ways how to do it. So this would be on A. On B you can just very simply use one here for the entrance. Very simply. There's not much that you have to think about. The disadvantage on these is that they are pretty much the range restricted. As you can see, it doesn't go that far. However, this one, it should cover anyone right here. But have in mind, anyone can jump out of it, so it's not gonna stun them. And of course, you can use the other side as well. Having one in garage should work fine. However, you probably know that when you are going into garage, you are not really making that much noise. You are usually sneaking in and trying to clear different angles. So that way it doesn't have to be that great here. However, still placing one either on the wall right here, or anywhere in these angles should work fine. For example, even like so. And of course on C, there's once again plenty of spots. I think it would be very good here to use, since you can angle it on plenty of spots. For example, like this, where it doesn't have to be expected. You can do it on these corners, or try to do it very simple on the wall right here. And this should cover anyone who'd be coming in. You can do one even right here, since you don't have to have one in garage. Enemies would be trying to push you, usually either from these spots. As you can see, if you place this one, it's gonna be rotated a little, as the previous one aside it, so that way it can see into the garage and anyone would be right here. The best way to use your sonic sensors when you are attacking, it's not that great to use for flank, since as you know, when you are flanking, you are not really running like crazy unless the enemies are pushed up. In that case, using one for a flank is a good idea. However, I would keep the other one and try to use it either on spike, since I would say they are a great tool for post plant. You can plant right here and place one sonic sensor on this spot. That way anyone, if you end up for example in a 1v1 situation, the enemy goes for a tap, this is gonna spot him, he's gonna get stunned, and you can try to pick him and win the round. Or very simply, you can use them for holding spots if the enemies just came out. You can for example use it right here. As you can see, it would be very difficult for enemies to break, since they would be already in rush trying to go into the site and try to get kills. They would not usually try to break this, so it would be great to use there. It would be difficult to break, and for example you can have one for the drop right here as well. As you can see, since if you drop out of the window, you always make a noise either when you land on the ground, or you just simply jump on this. This should stun them, so anyone from the heaven is pretty much, it's a no-go zone for him right here, unless he decides that he wants to jump all the way here, which is very unlikely. Now let's move on to your barrier mesh. There's plenty of ways how to use it. You just simply want to be using it to stop the pushes. You can be using different reference points to throw it at. For example, at this spot you want to be throwing it, for example, at this corner. So that way you just simply aim right here and you aim a little higher, so that way it lands all the way there. Right here you can be using this spot, so that way you make sure that it always lands on short and it's gonna block off the entrance that you need. So have that in mind. You can use this. I think the best value out of it you can get when you're in post plant, so that way it's pretty much the stage wall. Enemies have to break this, you get the info where the enemies are. However, when defending, this can delay pushes and reduce the rounds as well, since enemies can't see through it. You can for example combine it with a flash from KO or any other agent and peek with it. Another way how you can use this would be throwing it on the spike. So let's say that you have planted. You can throw it so that way it lands. You just want to simply always aim in front of the spike. And as you can see, if you plant it there, there's no way that the enemies can defuse, since there are all walls on all sides and they can get close to it, and they would have to break one of these walls. You can use this in a For example, 1v1 situation, it would be very difficult for enemies to do anything with it, so they would have to break the wall, and even though they would know where you are, if they start shooting the wall, you can try to pick them in the meantime, or just simply play for time. Placing walls right here on B is super easy, just simply place it in this entrance so that way it can stop the enemies. The same thing works on C and garage as well. Since these choke points are pretty easy to use, you can use, for example, another reference point right here. You can use this branch, which is this little tip of it. Just simply run forward, jump and throw it, so that way you always make sure it lands right here. So you can use that little branch, so that way you know where to aim, and you can use it from many different angles. As you can see, it's gonna always end up in this spot. When attacking, you can simply throw it into the walls right here when you are pushing, so that way no one pushes you in. You can do the same thing. I would say it is especially handy in the window. Just simply make sure that you know how high you have to aim, so that way no enemies can go through it and try to kill you, and you can simply walk past through it. Of course, using it on spawn is a great idea as well, but the only disadvantage of this is that it doesn't land that far, as you can see, so you have to sacrifice some space that you would work with. So for example, you can throw it from long, but as you can see, it's gonna end up only here. And lastly, let's move to the ultimate, the annihilation. There's plenty of ways that we can use it. I would say the best ways to use it would be to use it on people who are planting or defusing. That way you can use it, for example, if the enemy starts to plant right here, you can use it from heaven. If you know that there's someone close right here, simply bounce it off of this. You can bounce it off of this side as well, so that way you get anyone on the plant as well. There's plenty of ways how to use this. You just have to be a little creative. For example, here on long, you can bounce off of the wall and get anyone right here in A lobby. You can use this even to, if you know that there's someone right here in this corner, simply and coming out of zero, ult it like this or off the walls, and anyone in this spot is gonna get caught in your web, and you can get them pretty simple. You can use it even off the wall like this, as you can see, so that way it's gonna land right here into the backside. On B, I would recommend to use it only on anyone who would be either defusing. So yeah, have that in mind, don't really try to waste it. Or just anyone who would be planting, as you can see, for example, from this spot. You can use it like this as well, so that way it gets them. In garage, you can use it right here, bounce it off, or very simply, once again, for the plant or the diffuse, if the enemies are going for it. As you can see, there is a big range where it can catch an enemy. So yeah, those are very simple the abilities explained and some tricks shown. Hopefully this video is gonna help you guys. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and see you guys soon. Bye.